Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you again if you're here for the second live for today. But if you're new to the channel and this is your first time in, hi, my name is Tanya. Welcome in. You can call me Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. Either or is fine with me. So welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see everybody. I wasn't sure if I was going to come back on or not. And then I was like, yeah, I will. I will. I felt like it was we would watch some stuff together. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be a good live. We're going to talk about Suzanne Morphew this evening. We've talked about her on this channel pretty extensively. We went through, the documents. We went through her autopsy. We went through the indictment on Barry, the first indictment. We went through the second indictment on him. And so now today we're going to go over some of the stuff that's been coming out. And I feel like there's a hair or something in my eye. Sorry. So, hey, Cuff You. Hey, Ladybug. I wasn't sure if everybody would be awake this late. Hey, Willows. I was like, well, maybe we'll even see some new people, Hey, Ashley. Hey, Ryan. Welcome in. It's good to see everybody. Hey, baby girl. You guys are all still up. Oh, I'm glad that you're happy. Thank you, baby girl. I'm glad you're happy I'm back. I was like, should I or shouldn't I? And I was like, I should. We just were running around doing stuff. And I would have been on earlier. This is, I crap you not. This is my excuse. It took me an hour and a half, I think, or an hour and 20 minutes just to blow dry my hair. No wonders why people go days without washing their hair. Shoot, sign me up. Or I would have been on earlier. Hey, Ashley Higgins, how you doing? What'd you get? I like Dawn dish soap. Isn't that, no, it's palm olive, I think, that you use if you have fleas. Palm olive is what helps get them off. We got a dog one time, me and Vincent, and we brought it home and it had fleas and it was midnight. So there was like nothing open, right? And I think at the time Walmart was still open that late because I remember he went somewhere. I was like, just go and get palm olive for at least for tonight. I was like, we've got to do something for tonight. Hey, Mr. Rosebud. I won't do that. Open your eyes and wash with it. You're a vampire. You stay up very late. I know. I stay up late too. I do too. Well, I'm glad to see everybody. I was like, it might be a big life. It might be a small life. It's weird because I was going back and I was looking on my Suzanne Morphew videos, and they're very different. Like with how many people watch. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I do something different or if it's just different. I don't know. But the last Nancy Grace video I did with Suzanne Morphew, it had like 9.7K views. I was like, dang. So, but Nancy's been covering this case since it happened. She's very, very, very invested in Suzanne's case. Like she has what does her shirt say? Like justice for Suzanne hashtag or something, justice for Suzanne. She wears it on her show a lot. And so does her friend. What's her friend's name? The one that's like the cop. I can't think of her name. You guys would know it. But they both have those shirts, and they've been out there to the scene and to the area, and they've looked around and they've seen everything. So she's pretty invested in this case. But like I said, we went over the autopsy, we went over like the indictment and stuff. And I remember one night we were speculating how they identified her. And I don't know why I didn't see this before. But it says it on the autopsy, and it says identified by dental records, and it says and DNA. So that's how they, I guess, identified her, because we were talking about maybe her medical port and stuff like that. So yeah, let me pull up a picture here. Because we're going to go over her case. And this is where they found her, unfortunately. Let me, we'll go back to this because I'm going to look up at my notes. I wrote out notes so I wouldn't get anything wrong. Hey, Kathy. Me too. Oh, and it's coming. It's going to come. Hey, Dawn. Isn't she pretty? She was 49 years old, and she had, I think, beat cancer twice. And I mean, look at her. You know, like if they say your body's a temple, she took care of hers, you know, she really did. She biked and she ran and she did active things, you know, she was very active, and she was beautiful on the inside and out. But from what we've heard about her, she seems like she was a very sweet lady. She definitely didn't deserve what happened to her by any means. But Suzanne Morphew, she's 49-year-old mother from Salida, California. She vanished on Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020, after reportedly going for a bike ride. Her disappearance sparked a massive search, but her bicycle was found undamaged in a ravine, and her helmet was located nearby with no signs of a crash or blood. But they did find unknown male DNA. I want to make sure we remember that. I'm like, I don't know I don't know if Barry did this. I don't know how he did it. I think I know he did it. I just don't know how he did it. But authorities suspected foul play, focusing on her husband, Barry Morphew, who was charged with first-degree murder and other crimes in May of 2021, despite no body being found at the time. Just kind of like Crystal Rogers right now. We just got a conviction on 2 of them, 3 of them now altogether. So you don't technically need a body for you know, to get a conviction. You just don't. Hey, Rhonda, welcome in. So prosecutors alleged marital issues including Suzanne's desire for a divorce and her 2-year affair with a former classmate, and claimed Barry used a tranquilizer, BAM, a mix of bufenol, I can't even say them, azaprin, and metopinidine. I don't know the names of these. I wish I did. To subdue her, as he had access to it for tranquilizing deer. So it's called BAM for short. That's what we're going to call it here. So that's what, if I say BAM, that's what we're talking about. But these charges were dropped in April of 2022 due to prosecutorial misconduct and withheld evidence, allowing for refiling later. So he got out of jail. I seriously kind of thought, in a way, that was going to be the end of it. Like, I really, honestly, I hoped it wouldn't, but I don't know. I just was like, they're not going to bring the charges again because of the, everything that happened. But in September 2023, Suzanne's remains were discovered in a shallow grave in Saginaw County. That's not how you say it. I don't know how to say it. Let me see if I can. Can I have it? Tell me. No, I can't have it. Tell me here. It's like Saginaw County. Hey, Mary Beth. It's good to see you. Yeah, make sure you're on all messages. I did earlier. Where was I at? But so they found her in a shallow grave, and they were actually, it was about 50 miles from her home, and they found her when they were actually looking for somebody else. So it was an unrelated search. They actually, what was it? That lady, I don't know her name, but they did find her remains, I guess, when they were the one that they were actually looking for recently. Saguache County. Thank you. Did I say it right? Saguache County. Man, I love when you guys do that for me. So, baby girl, whenever we did a case in Washington, she was like doing that. She was like trying to say the words for me because some of them I just don't get. Them out there and I'm calling it on the West Coast. Y'all got your names crazy. We have crazier names out here, probably actually. But it was due to an unrelated search. They found her. An autopsy in April of 2024 ruled her death a homicide by undetermined means, with BAM tranquilizer found in her bone marrow. So that was suggesting she was drugged and her body moved multiple times. And we're going to learn about that tonight. Her body being moved multiple times. The autopsy also noted caffeine in her system, confirming she had coffee that morning, and a weathered bullet was found with her biking clothes, though its significance is unclear. Unknown male DNA was found on her car and bike, but authorities have not disclosed further testing results. I bet you Barry knows why the bullet was there. I wonder if he hunted with that round of bullets and it fell out of his pocket, or it could have just gotten there. Maybe it got he had it. He had some rounds in his car or truck, and he put the body in there, and it got on her. I don't know. But Barry Morphew was. My dog was having a little dream back there. Was rearrested on June 20th, 2025 in Arizona, indicted again for first-degree murder based on the tranquilizer evidence, as he's the only private citizen in the area in Utah to have it. He maintains his innocence, supported by their daughters Mallory and Macy, and has filed a $15 million lawsuit. Well, we'll see. Hold on, sorry. And I said Utah, and I meant Colorado. I had to double check that myself. Colorado. Sorry, guys. And thank you, Cuffy. Cuffy said, I really appreciate that you involve your chat. So many creators just ignore the chat. So thank you, T. You're welcome. I tried to. Is that Aries champion? There you are. I've been wondering. I haven't seen you all day. I was actually I was thinking of you a little bit ago. We got to get your crown back. It's good to see you, Aries. Who took my #1 crown? Okay. Thank you for that. That was very nice of you. Welcome in, Aries. Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah, I'm actually done pretty much. So his daughters actually, when he was in court the other day, I heard that there was only one of his daughters was there, and I'm not sure which one, but I'm curious to know. Maybe the other daughter, maybe she just couldn't be there. Maybe that's why, because his daughters have stuck by his side, although like through all of this, with their mother being missing, them finding her body 3 years later. I mean, through it all. I can understand in a way. I mean, they were young when it happened. You know, they were just fresh. They were like, one was in high school, one was just starting college. You know, they don't want to think that their father would kill their mother, right? No one would want to think that. But then you got to look at the evidence, though. The tranquilizer darts or whatever, you know, in the dryer. Then you've got her with, you know, in her bone marrow. She has BAM, and he's the only person for miles and miles and miles and miles that has access to that as a private citizen. So it's not looking good. There's more to I found today. Hey, Betsy. Yeah, it is. Parental alienation is real. And I feel like, you know, their mom's not here any longer. They don't want to think that their dad could possibly ever do this, right? I wouldn't want to think that at all. You know, I just wouldn't. So this came out July 6th, 2025. And I don't remember hearing about this at all. Like, up until now. So maybe you guys have, maybe I haven't. But the way that they were describing her body and like the condition and stuff like that, and what was there and what wasn't there, like it tells a tale, you know, a story. And they're saying that they believe that she was moved, and she was moved a couple times. Now, it's one thing, in my opinion, to unalive somebody, right? You unalive one, you kill someone, you kill them. We'll use the right words here. And I don't know how long he waited, right? To sit, like she's sitting there decomposing. That, I mean, her flesh, you know, everything's just kind of like would be coming off. I mean, I don't want to be that grim, but you know, that's how it is. And then he goes and he gets her. I'm assuming he buried her. I don't know. But he goes and he gets her. And then he takes her. Like, I don't even know how you would even transport that. And then to another site. And then reburies her or something, right? And then he goes to that site. They said the bones were like bleached. Hey, Jesse's girl. Hey, Squeaky. I missed you, Squeaks. Barry Morphew. By the animal tranquilizer industry. And get to the ducky point. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Tom. I don't know if I said hi to you. Oh, thank you for becoming a member, Crystal. Hey, Kathy. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking, what if he left her outside at one of the spots, or maybe the last spot that she was at, right? Because she was just kind of scattered, that's horrific. But yeah, Barry, you're in trouble. You're in so much trouble. Like we better just knock on wood that nothing bad happens with the prosecutor in this case. But it just says Suzanne Morphew's body was moved at least twice after she was murdered, according to new indictment. And we read the new indictment. I swear we did. I must have just literally buzzed over that and didn't even like stop myself. Barry Morphew, a longtime suspect in his wife's disappearance and murder, was arrested in Arizona on June 20th, 2025, 2 days after he was indicted on first-degree murder charge in the case of his wife, Suzanne Morphew's death. So basically, she wakes up Mother's Day and is going to go on this bike ride, he says. He all of a sudden has a job site he has to be at. She comes up missing, and instead of him calling the police, he calls his neighbor, and then has his neighbor go over there to check to see if she's home. And he says, well, no, she's not home. And then he says, check for the bike. I don't see the bike. So then he says, maybe a mountain lion or something got her. I mean, this guy's been a trip this whole time. And look at him. I mean, he's literally, you'll see him smiling when he walks into court. He is smiling with all of his teeth. Like he's not letting any of the teeth not show. It says this is the second time Barry Morphew has been arrested and charged with her death. The initial charges were dismissed without prejudice, meaning authorities reserved the right to charge him again. The latest grand jury indictment alleges new details that are surprising even to those who have been following the case since Suzanne Morphew disappeared on Mother's Day 2020. Barry Morphew has long stated he had nothing to do with his wife's murder, and the couple's 2 adult daughters have stood by their father. After the initial charge against Barry Morphew were dismissed, authorities continued to search for her body, and on September 22nd, 2023, and we went over this that day, I'm pretty sure, Suzanne Morphew's remains were found in and around a shallow clandestine grave, less than an hour south of the Morphew residence, according to the indictment. An hour away almost. Driving around with a dead body in your car for an hour. That takes some guts. Who was the serial killer? I think it was a serial killer. He had a dead body in the back of his car and he got pulled over. And the cop let him go, and he didn't see the dead body. I forget who that was. That it was somebody nuts. The majority of her bones were recovered, the indictment states. That's good. And a board-certified anthropologist and botanist and an entomologist were brought in to analyze the remains and conclude that it was unlikely Suzanne decomposed from a fresh body to a skeleton at this location. Dan R. Ridenour, who lives in the Salida area of Colorado where the Morphews lived when Suzanne Morphew went missing, is the news director and operation manager of the Heart of the Rockies radio. He told 48 Hours that it was hard to make sense of the indictment's allegations against Barry Morphew. Why would he do that? Ridenour said, why would he move the body? That's a good question. Because he probably thought he was going to get caught or something. Maybe the cops were searching an area and he saw a cop in an area that was close to where the body is. I mean, the cop could have just been sitting there eating his snack or something right on the side of the road and say Barry had put her body back right there or something. You know what I mean? What if he just was he just got scared on his own, or he thought they're going to come and get me. I better move her body, which I think is kind of stupid. She was kind of scattered in this area. I don't know if the wind would do that or what, but there was no animal degradation. No animals were on her, had gotten to her. So, for one thing, Ridenour noted that Barry Morphew has been under heavy scrutiny since Suzanne Morphew was reported missing. There is not a more recognizable face in Salida than Barry Morphew. He is going to take that chance and drive 70 miles to the south and dig a shallow grave. There are too many questions. Maybe he dug the grave beforehand. But the indictment is unequivocal. Suzanne Morphew's bones were moved to that location after her body had decomposed elsewhere, meaning it had to have been moved at least twice after her murder. She was not initially killed in the San Luis Valley, Ridenour said. She was moved there. That was not her first grave. That is so... That reminds me of... why can't I think of his name right now? Adam Montgomery. But it just does. With it reminds me of Adam Montgomery. You know how he transported his little girl around? That's what this reminds me of. Like, that's what, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Like, there's nothing pretty about doing that, you know? That, like, that's just, and that's your wife, right? Like, that's your wife. That's, I mean, like, she gave you 2 kids. I mean, that's just, whew. I mean, I'm in shock. So, in addition, tests revealed that in Suzanne Morphew's bone marrow, the chief toxicologist found a mixture of 3 chemicals known as BAM. The compound is used to tranquilize wildlife, and the indictment noted that Barry Morphew has admitted using those drugs to tranquilize deer. He had even admitted to authorities that 1 month before Suzanne's disappearance, he had used those chemicals to tranquilize a deer near the breezeway of the Morphew residence. Mm-hmm. The chemical compound takes several minutes to cause sedation, the indictment states, and tests found that Suzanne's death was not immediate following BAM exposure because Suzanne Morphew's body had begun to metabolize the drug before she died. That's insanity. Authorities have long suspected that Barry chased Suzanne around their house. Yeah, we believe that. I believe that. After somehow injecting her with the BAM compound. According to text, Suzanne Morphew had told Barry Morphew she wanted to divorce civilly, and it was later revealed she was having a 2-year affair with a former schoolmate. The indictment links Barry Morphew to purchase of the BAM compound, which is a highly controlled drug. It concludes the prescription records show when Suzanne Morphew disappeared, only one private citizen living in that entire area of the state had access to BAM, Barry Morphew. Okay. Oh, yeah, and then they do have this too, this 48 hours thing. Suzanne Morphew case, nothing is what it seems. I saw that. We should put that on our list to watch over on Patreon. This case is incredibly unique, says Aya Gruber, now a law professor at the University of Southern California Law School, or School of Law, sorry. When you started to dig a little bit deeper, nothing is what it seems. Gruber studied thousands of pages of public documents from the prosecutor, investigators, and defense attorneys. Suzanne Morphew was reported missing on May 10th, 2020. She'd been alone that day because her daughters, Macy, 16, and Mallory, 20, were off on a church-sponsored camping trip and planned to return home later that Mother's Day. After Suzanne was officially reported missing by a neighbor, investigators began to examine Barry Morphew's story. Friends and relatives told investigators that the marriage was troubled, and agents found a deleted text from Suzanne to Barry on his phone that read, "I'm done. I could care less what you're up to and have been for years. We just need to figure this out civilly." What's this? Oh, it's just another link. Okay. But 10 days after Suzanne disappeared, agents were pulled in a different direction when they found a so-called spy pen belonging to Suzanne. The spy pen has a long battery life and is designed to look and write like an ordinary pen. But it had one extra feature. It is a voice activated and records conversations. Suzanne Morphew had acquired it. She told a friend because she suspected Barry Morphew was having an affair, and she hoped to use the pen to gather evidence, but the plan backfired because she was having an affair. Investigators listened to what the pen had recorded, and although there was no evidence of Barry Morphew having an affair, they say they heard intimate conversations between Suzanne and someone named Jeff. It was another twist in the case filled with them. Without knowing who Jeff was or his location when Suzanne went missing, they could not eliminate him as a person of interest. It took FBI agents 6 months before they uncovered his identity. Jeff Libler, a man both Suzanne and Barry Morphew knew from their Alexandria, Indiana high school. Libler and Suzanne Morphew had had a one-time fling after graduation, and she reached out to him in 2018 after the Morphews moved to Colorado with a Facebook message that simply read, "Howdy, stranger." We all know where that was going. You don't reach out to people on Facebook. Just leave the Facebook alone forever. Forever, ever. And from that moment, they had talked almost every single night, every single day, nonstop, said Ashley Franco, a former reporter, who has covered the story from the beginning. That was enough to ignite a nearly 2-year love affair. Libler had a wife and 6 children. I forgot how many children he had. 6. He lived in Michigan and claimed to be there with his family on the days Suzanne Morphew vanished. Agents eventually discovered the lovers had spoken to each other for dozens of hours, often communicating via secret accounts on WhatsApp and LinkedIn. Libler also admitted that they met for romantic rendezvous in New Orleans, Florida, Texas, Michigan, and Indiana. After Suzanne disappeared in May 2020, Libler did not contact authorities. Instead, agents say he deleted the accounts where he had communicated with Suzanne Morphew. That ain't a good look, bruh. That ain't a good look, bruh. Like, I mean, even like you should have just stepped up and been like, we had told your wife, like, I had an affair and this girl was missing and like, I need to go to the police. That's what you should have done. If I was the police, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, it took me 6 months to find you. You knew this woman was missing. It's been all over the damn country. Libler reportedly told agents he did not want to tarnish Suzanne Morphew's memory, but he also told them he worried that he'd lose his wife, children, and job. He also worried he might be considered a suspect. He asked the agents, "Am I a target?" said Gruber. No. After agents confronted him, he did cooperate, providing a sample of his DNA and passwords to the deleted accounts. Investigators eventually were able to retrace the couple's steps and recovered texts by tapping into the iCloud accounts of Libler and Suzanne Morphew. Libler was then able to provide receipts for a home goods store he'd visited in Michigan on the day Suzanne vanished, and he was eventually cleared. Investigators still had their suspicions about Barry Morphew. They never uncovered any evidence that he was having an affair, but investigators found his actions on that Mother's Day weekend to be suspicious. And this is the house, and this is the pings of the phone. Like, he was going all over that house. They asked Barry Morphew why his phone seemed to be pinging all around his house on the day before Mother's Day, and he told them he must have been out shooting chipmunks, which he said were a constant nuisance at the house. Chipmunks. It was perhaps the world's first chipmunk alibi, but Barry Morphew stood by it, saying he shot 85 chipmunks in the 2 years he owned that Colorado house. Why would you kill the chipmunks? What the hell are the chipmunks doing to you? Really? I mean, what do chipmunks do? And then the confession and then that confession to shooting chipmunks becomes a major piece of incriminating evidence against him. Van Sant asked why, because agents are saying, well, now he's admitting to having run around the house, and this is ridiculous explanation, so it must be the explanation of a guilty person. What's more, there's no evidence of any chipmunk shootings around the house, and neighbors did not recall hearing any type of disturbance during that period of time. Cases sometimes turn into the smallest of things, and in this case, agents seized upon just such a small item. Agents had found a small clear plastic cap in the family dryer that they believed was from a syringe used to inject chemicals into a tranquilizer dart. Barry Morphew acknowledged he knew how to inject chemicals into a dart and that he'd shot many deer for trophies, and so he could get their antlers. His garage was filled with deer heads and pile of antlers. Isn't that illegal? Just like steal deer sheds out? Is it illegal out there, or is it legal out there? Because it's legal. It's illegal in Ohio. You can't do that. You can't just be like shooting them. I need to move my stuff down. Okay, there we go. Wasn't, yeah, it wasn't chipmunks. Yeah. Where was I at? Okay. So even investigators developed a theory that Barry Morphew had shot Suzanne Morphew with the tranquilizer gun and then chased her around the house before she passed out. They found a door frame that was broken and suspected there had been a confrontation. Agents also tapped into a new investigative tool called digital vehicle forensics. They pulled data from his Ford truck's many computers and got the truck to talk to them. They learned that when Barry Morphew said he was sleeping, the truck doors were opening and closing. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and other crimes in May of 2021. Barry eventually pled not guilty. Well, now he's coming back for a second round. So he comes in with his big grin when he comes to court. This is going to tell us a little bit about more of her disappearance, Suzanne's disappearance. This is on Court TV. I think it was just 5 days ago. So we'll listen to this, and I'll be in the chat with you guys. Thank you for being here. If you guys don't mind, just take a second, hit the like button. I really do appreciate everybody being here tonight. Yeah, so we're going to watch this really quick. And then after this, Barry was going under some different names. We'll read about that. Oh, and I do have something to share with you about the Idaho 4 at the end of the live. Don't let me forget. I shouldn't forget because it's in my tabs.
The grand jury has indicted Barry Morphew on the single count of murder in the first degree. Law enforcement, the Chaffee County community, and Colorado as a whole has never stopped fighting for justice for Suzanne.
We're giving a voice to the victims this morning, talking about what's ahead for defendant Barry Morphew as he makes his first appearance in court, accused of the murder of his wife, Suzanne. Suzanne Morphew vanished back in 2020. The 49-year-old mother of two was reported missing on Mother's Day. Her husband was the last known person to see her alive. Scripps News Denver brings us the latest.
I'm Denver 7's Claire Lavazorio outside the Alamosa County Justice Center, where Barry Morphew had his initial court appearance here in Colorado on Tuesday. He was escorted into the courthouse, handcuffed in an orange and white jumpsuit, smiling as soon as he saw one of his daughters there to support him. He's charged with murder for a second time. Barry Morphew is back in Colorado, appearing before a judge in his new murder case. His face lit up as soon as he saw one of his daughters sitting in the courtroom. This 30-minute appearance in front of Judge Amanda Hopkins was mostly procedural. Hopkins outlining standards for media coverage and courtroom etiquette.
Our entire community needs to be able to use this courthouse undeterred. They don't deserve to have to be subjected to this just because there is interest in Mr. Morphew's case.
Though Denver 7 did learn about a possible conflict of interest between Morphew and the public defender's office.
We would anticipate, expect, and ask the court to appoint the office of the alternate defense counsel.
Prosecutors say they provided almost all discovery materials to the defense, except for one witness transcript.
We're prepared to set trial at any time, but of course we've just given them multiple terabytes of discovery.
On June 20th, Morphew was taken into custody in Maricopa County, Arizona. This comes nearly 2 years after Denver 7 was the only station alongside investigators as they discovered his missing wife's remains just outside of the town of Moffett.
Terrible.
New details from a grand jury indictment
Look at how beautiful that home was.
say Barry was the last known person to see her alive. And during Suzanne Morphew's autopsy, an animal tranquilizer known as BAM was found in her bones. The indictment claims that Barry was a deer farmer and the only private citizen living in that entire area of the state that had access to BAM at the time of his wife's disappearance.
I want to say they got married in 1994. Like they had been together forever in a day, right? Like, even if she wants to divorce you, you would think you would still have love in your heart for her, right? Like, all of a sudden that switches. So I hate you so much that I want you dead. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, that's the part I don't get. How does your brain just switch like that all of a sudden? Like, boop. That means you've always had those ideas in your head.
Morphew is set to be back in court on September 2nd at 1:30. His attorneys say at that time he'll be ready to discuss his bond. I'm in Alamosa. Claire Lavazorio, Denver 7.
September 2nd will be right around the corner. So Barry Morphew, what was up with that smile when he was in the courtroom? A lot of people talking about that. A lot of people in true crime community also want to know if these charges are going to stick this second time around. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Michael J. Brown. Okay, let's start with the defendant's very optimistic appearance in the courtroom. Michael, what'd you think of that?
Julie, I don't know if it's really the optimistic part of it. I'm sure he takes this seriously. If you look when he came out initially, this is a murder charge. And what you really see is he obviously noted his one or two of his daughters are in the courtroom. And that was really refreshing. And it was a friendly face and it's a family member. So I think that was the reaction. I think the media, quite frankly, is making way too much of it. I don't think it's anything more than he identified and saw his children, and that's refreshing and comforting to him. I think that's the extent of it.
You think it was just a glance at one of his daughters? We do know that one of his daughters was there, the other was not. So you think, well, because that's the clip. Obviously, everybody's talking about that clip. Why is he smiling? But great explanation if it was just an acknowledgement of his child.
Yeah, I do. I don't know anything about him, or I know what I read about the case, but that happens all the time when you see the defendant will come out, they'll acknowledge a family member, they'll be so happy and excited to see them. It's independent of the charges. And what happens is they blow it up and they make more of it than it is. He's not taking it seriously. He thinks this is a joke, but I don't think that's the case.
I appreciate it, Michael. And I know you can also appreciate what we're looking at here. So we have a parent holding hands with his two beautiful daughters. Now he's behind bars. We'll see what happens at his next hearing. Their mother is deceased. Looks here, and this video was taken quite some time ago, they were supporting him. Don't know if that's still going to be the case. Perhaps one is. We know one was present. I don't want to speculate on why the other daughter wasn't there, or what her thoughts may be. But how difficult is that in cases you've had where you have one parent accused of killing the other parent?
Where's his eyebrows?
Yeah, these domestic cases are horrible, and it happens all the time. And now you have the children will lose both parents. One's dead, and one could potentially spend the rest of their lives in jail. It's horrible on the kids. It's horrible on the family. Everybody loses. But it's interesting in this case, as you pointed out, Julie, that one of the daughters is supporting the father. And despite the new indictment and some of the new evidence that came forward, I don't know if that's going to continue throughout the process as evidence may get revealed. But for the time being, that's the case.
Great points, Michael. I want to play for you a clip that went viral at the time. I still talked about. I'm sure these prosecutors will use it in the trial. This is when Barry's out helping investigators look for his wife, and he talks about how maybe a mountain lion got to her.
Was it a crash? I mean, the bike looked, the way it was laying, it kind of looked like it, but there's not really that much damage to the bike.
Lion?
Yeah, it was a lion.
No lion?
I didn't see anything that was...
Mountain lion.
Okay, Michael, thoughts on that and how you defend that?
I put eye drops in.
He's suggesting something. How sincere it comes across, I don't know. You see these all the time when you have a husband who kills the wife, and then he's active and he leads the search parties and gets volunteers in the community to look for the wife. And then we find out he's the one responsible for the crime, and then he gets convicted. And the joke's on who. But I don't know. I don't have enough here to really make that comment. And it may be legit. There's a presumption of innocence, so we have to afford him that presumption. And maybe he's just simply suggesting an alternative theory in terms of why she's not there and what happened to her. Mountain lion? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that clip just, I don't know. It's the one that I guess stuck with me the most, perhaps. We'll see what happens with this guy. I think he's going to fight it. I do, Michael. I think he's going to fight it all the way to trial. Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he is. Oh, yeah. He's going to fight it like he's going to think that he's going to get off like he did last time. Not so much. So before we get to the Nancy Grace, I wanted to show you this because apparently he's been going by like a different name out in Arizona. So over 600 miles away from Salida, Colorado, where Suzanne Morphew vanished on Mother's Day 2020, Barry Morphew's found and escaped from the state where prosecutors initially tried but failed to convict him of killing his wife. Barry Morphew was indicted by a grand jury on charges of murder in the first degree after deliberation on June 20th in relation to the death of his wife, 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew, who was also the mother of his 2 daughters. Barry Morphew was arrested in Goodyear, Arizona, almost 11 hours from where his wife went missing. Barry settled down in Cave Creek, Arizona, where prosecutors dropped murder charges in 2020 relating to his wife's disappearance. The charges were dropped after alleged prosecutorial misconduct and failure to comply with discovery rules, resulting in the judge barring several state witnesses from testifying. One restaurant employee in Cave Creek, Arizona, told Fox News Digital he didn't know Barry Morphew by his first name and thought he was an entirely different person. Charlie Lutz, bar manager at Harold's Cave Creek Corral, told Fox News that Barry Morphew went by the name Bruce. He looks like a Bruce, actually. Look at him right there. He's aged. In the last 5 years. Yeah. He's lost a lot of weight. That's what, nightmares will do that to you, right? Lutz didn't know Barry Morphew's real name until June 20th when news report began to surface about murder charges relating to Suzanne Morphew's death. I was shocked I was very caught off guard about it all. I spent honestly, as soon as I found out about it, I spent like 2 hours reading articles about it. I was so intrigued because I was like, this doesn't happen. Maybe that's who it is. Lutz said he began seeing Barry Morphew, or Bruce, as he knew the murder suspect, after the coronavirus pandemic. He said Barry Morphew's go-to drink was beer, often switching between Miller Lite and Coors Light, adding that he was at the bar on June 13th, exactly 1 week before his arrest. Barry Morphew always was approached by other women at the bar, Lutz said, adding that he would frequently approach other women and flirted with them. Did they know who he was? Do they not know about it? The case? Libby Spurrell told Fox News Digital she was one of the women Barry Morphew flirted with at Harold's Cave Creek Corral. She said she was at Harold's Cave Creek Corral in March 2024 when Barry Morphew asked if she wanted to dance. He walked out to me and he said, okay, hi. He's like, do you want to dance? And I said, you're Barry Morphew. I shit you know, that's what she said. Oh my God. Well, that's smart of her. That's smart. Wonder what he said. At the time, according to Spurrell, Barry Morphew said, no, I think you have the wrong person. What? Okay. So it says he walked up to me and he asked, hi. He's like, do you want to dance? And I said, you're Barry Morphew. Then he says, no, I think you have the wrong person. A bit later, Spurrell said an individual approached them and introduced Barry as Lee from Indiana. He probably paid someone to do that. He's probably like, we go over to these girls and like introduce me as Lee. You know what I mean? Like, According to the June 20th grand jury indictment, Barry Morphew went by the alias Lee Moore. A local gas station clerk told Fox News Digital he knew Barry Morphew by the name Lee. Well, I hope you weren't selling them beer and not checking that ID. I don't care how old he is. Public records indicate Barry Morphew paid property taxes at the Stardust Trailer Park. Oh, gosh. And how far we fall. Really? What? and was self-employed in Colorado. He was a landscaper and independent contractor, but he didn't hold any professional license to do either in Arizona. This is the Stardust trailer park here. I guess he's living in the trailer park now. You had like a $5 million home, or was it 3.5 million? I don't know. 3.5 is sticking out to me, but still, like, I mean, millions and millions of dollars. Where'd they go, buddy? Where'd they go? Ozempic, is that why? Because you're so skinny? Just kidding. Colin McCallan, a Colorado-based lawyer and former deputy district attorney for the 18th Judicial District Attorney's Office in Colorado, told Fox News Digital, the use of the two aliases is uncommon. That's weird, McCallan said. I mean, that certainly is evidence that this person who does not want to be known by his true name, maybe even know a little reckless with the use of those aliases. It's clear he did not want to be known by Barry, he said, adding it's possible Barry Morphew was trying to live a double life. Yeah, I could see that. And then we know about the BM. Barry Morphew maintains his innocence. Barry Morphew's lawyer declined to comment. Okay. I mean, he looks like hell. He does. He looks like he has not slept in years. Look at those bags under his eyes. His hair's falling out. When we saw him in the commercial he did, he didn't look like this. He looked like he had hair on his head and oof. Okay, so we're going to move on to, actually, before we move on to Nancy, I'm going to tell you actually about, we're just going to make a little pit stop at Idaho 4Ks. So that way I can tell you guys this because it's pretty exciting, right? Okay, so this happened today. The state of Idaho is having a meeting on July 17th at 10:30 a.m. via Zoom. We're not invited. But it's a motion to vacate the non-dissemination order. So maybe by the end of July 17th or the 18th, the 19th, maybe we'll have the actual, all the stuff like sent to us. You know what I mean? All the goods. So I guess the coalitions, the news agencies that went against that, the non-dissemination, I guess it worked. So, I mean, they're having a meeting about it. So that's pretty cool. I'm liking that. So hopefully we'll get it a little earlier than, the 25th or so. So Nancy's all charged up. She's ready. She's ready to go after Barry. Look at her. Oh, I forgot to get out my Nancy cardboard cutout. I have to get her out. Dag nabbit. I meant to do that before the live. I don't know if I might scare the dog. Her tongue sticking out. I wish I could put the camera on her. She's literally, eyes are rolled in the back of her head and her tongue sticking out. So, okay, I'll play this. If you guys don't mind, take a second, hit the like button. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I really do. Nancy's going to go off. And FYI.
Tonight.
She goes off on like all the people on the panel too.
A bombshell. In a stunning twist, Barry Morphew now charged for a second time with the murder of his wife, Suzanne, 5 years after she vanishes on a Mother's Day bike ride. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell and a stunning twist. Barry Morphew is charged again in the murder of his wife, Suzanne Morphew. I spent days tromping around the entire area and realized very quickly how difficult it would be to find Suzanne Morphew's remains. But guess what? They were found in a remote area. And those remains really crack this case wide open. Take a listen to Ann Kelly, District Attorney, 12th Judicial District.
Suzanne Morphew was reported missing on Mother's Day 5 years ago. Law enforcement has never stopped working to obtain justice for this mother of two, this daughter, this sister, and this beloved member of the Chaffee County community. Through the tireless efforts of the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, the Saguache County Sheriff's Office, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, I can announce today that the 12th Judicial District Grand Jury returned an indictment. The grand jury has indicted Barry Morphew on the single count of murder in the first degree.
Many of us thought this day may never come, but held out hope for justice for Suzanne. As you will all recall, he, the husband, Barry Morphew, had been indicted before, and the case was thrown out of court on alleged prosecutorial misconduct. Now, years have passed, and the case has been revived, brought back from the dead. Straight out to a very special guest joining us is Tisha Leeway, a very dear friend of Suzanne Morphew. Tisha, it's wonderful to see you. I wondered if we would ever speak on this occasion. Tell me your response, your reaction when you learned Barry Morphew had finally been indicted a second time in Suzanne's murder.
I was shocked, honestly. I was hoping that the day would come, obviously, but
I
didn't
know. I remember her too. Remember, she was like the one that like went through the details of like the crime or something like that with Nancy. Yeah, it's really sweet to see her again.
My phone was just going crazy. And then all of a sudden I had to stop and just look. And I honestly started crying because I was so shocked and happy. And I mean, I'm glad this day has finally came.
You said
we had a mod. I had a mod when I first started my channel. And I'm pretty sure, I want to say I'm like 99.99% sure that she was knew Suzanne Morphew from her cancer, and like they had gotten treatment at the same center or something.
That you always thought it would happen. After the first indictment was thrown out for alleged prosecutorial misconduct, many people thought it never would, that the case was so tainted, there was no way to get a grand jury indictment or conviction. Why did you always believe it would happen?
I just know that, things work in mysterious ways, and I feel like she deserves the justice. So I think after they found her body in a different county, I felt like we were in good hands. Not that Chaffee County, most of them, are worked with Saguache County anyway. But once the body was found, obviously that gave us way bigger hopes. And then once the autopsy came out, that was even bigger.
Tisha Leeway, a very dear friend and confidant of Suzanne Morphew's. What was your reaction when you first realized that Suzanne was missing and couldn't be found? What did you think?
I just kind of just followed the news a little bit, but it was a little strange just the way she went missing. So obviously I kind of thought something else happened.
Guys, we are joined by an all-star panel, and we are trying to make sense of what we are learning now. I want you to take a listen to what happened around the time Suzanne seemingly vanished into thin air all alone in her home on Mother's Day. And according to her husband, Barry Morphew, she decided to go on a Mother's Day bike ride. Listen.
After a missing persons report was called in by a neighbor, investigators responded to the Morphew's residence. The house was locked. Suzanne's vehicle was in the garage with no signs of forced entry. Suzanne and her bicycle were missing. The bike was found less than a mile from her home down a hillside off a dirt road.
Joining me, investigative reporter with Crime Stories, Dave Mack. Dave Mack, we all flew out to the location and spent days looking for evidence, reviewing the location where her bike was found. And I recall distinctly at the time that Barry Morphew said his wife must have been eaten by wild animals. I guess as she went by on the bike, a wild animal just jumped and attacked her mid bike ride and then dragged her body away. Her bike helmet was found about a mile away. I guess the wild predator dragged her helmet a mile away. But then that theory was scuttered when her body was found in another county. That's a long way for a mountain lion to drag a dead body, isn't it?
Well, Nancy, it's a long way for any animal to carry a body, but to actually, his theory of the bobcat, he threw that out there right away, or mountain lion. He threw that out there right away. And anybody in the area that knew anything about mountain lions was like, no, that they don't work like that. There might be one out here somewhere, but they're not going to do that. And when they found her remains, Nancy, if you remember, the remains that they found were bleached and almost complete. They found almost a complete set of bones of her. And that's not common when you find a body out in an area like where she was found. It's very uncommon. They're usually parts of the body, because if wild animals get it, they carry it away, parts of it, and they're all scattered. But that didn't happen here.
I'm looking back over what happened that morning, that Mother's Day morning, to Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us, renowned psychoanalyst out of the LA jurisdiction. She's the author of Deal Breaker. You can see her now on Peacock, and you can find her online at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, her daughters were camping on Mother's Day, and they called her relentlessly to talk to their mom on Mother's Day. Interesting that prior to that weekend, Barry Morphew, according to reports, did not have a construction job planned. But suddenly, that morning, around, I guess, 4 o'clock in the morning or so, he put together a crew for an out-of-town job and took off on Mother's Day morning, leaving, according to him, his wife alone on Mother's Day, still asleep in bed.
That right there don't make no damn sense to me. Where is my breakfast in bed? My kids aren't here. Barry, what the hell, dude? You just left her? I'm just saying. I get breakfast in bed every weekend. Why'd that just jump like that?
Nancy, that's so suspicious. Who pulls together a crew at the last minute? And if he did, is there a homeowner or a business owner who requested for him to come in at the last minute? Perhaps they had complaints about the plumbing or the tile or something like that. I mean, I think we'd really want to show that there was a reason that he would pull together that crew. Secondarily, Nancy, mothers, as you know, because you have beautiful Lucy, they want to be in contact with their children on Mother's Day.
She forgot to say David too.
The fact that she would not pick up the phone is very odd. I mean, this was her reason for being in life, was to be in contact with her children. And lastly, the idea that her bones were found so far away, bleached, preserved, not eaten by animals. And the fact is that if she had died of natural causes out in the wild, her body would have been scavenged. So there's just so many things that are missing about this story.
I want to follow up on something that you just said. Joining me is Dr. Thomas Coyne, Chief Medical Examiner, District 2 Medical Examiner's Office, State of Florida. He is a forensic pathologist, a toxicologist, and a neuropathologist. And you can find him on X at Dr. T.M. Coyne. Dr. Coyne, thank you for being with us. What does it mean that there was no hair attached to her body?
Well, if she did die, or if her body was placed outside and she decomposed outside, there would have been a hair mass. Not only the hair mass, you would have seen in the soil evidence of decomposition, because all of those body tissues, your body fluids, have to go somewhere as they begin to denature and liquefy.
So what I'm getting from that is your hair on your head will be like it will kind of like come off, like, this is graphic, but I guess come off of your scalp, and it'll be like a mass there. Like, you know what I mean? You'll see the hair.
And so you would have had, in conjunction with the skeleton, you would have had her hair mass. You would have also had evidence of decomposition or fluid, especially if she was wearing clothing. The clothing, I'm sure, would have been tattered, would have had evidence of decomposition, or fluid within those tissues, or clothing for that matter.
We learn more about the discovery of her body. Listen.
When Suzanne's body was found, the majority of her bleached bones were recovered, along with a cancer report and items of clothing matching bike clothing Suzanne was known to wear. There was a lack of bug activity, inconsistent with the remains decomposing where they were found. There was also a lack of animal activity on the bones and no hair mass found. These features would have been expected where the body was found if it had been the original gravesite where decomposition occurred.
Dr. Coyne, when you refer to a hair mass, you're referring to the hair that would have been on her head.
That's correct, yeah. It would have sloughed off of her head.
I don't understand, again, what that means, that no hair mass is found. What does that mean?
Sure. Well, if her body was left outside, she would have decomposed outside. And that's a meal for bugs, for animals. You would have had scavenging activity. Animals would have come in to sort of gain access to the tissue. They would have walked away with certain body parts. But the hair on the head, as the tissue begins to decompose, it sloughs off of the skull, leaving that matted hair behind. Very often that hair is full of waxy tissue, bugs, maggots, other types of pupae that may be present. So it forms almost like a matted mass of hair, and that would have been present there with the skeleton.
So that means that's not where she decomposed originally. Is that what you just said means?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And also, when you have bleached skeleton like that, a body that's outside weathers. So that body, those bones would not be bleached. That tells me that more than likely the body was kept somewhere else and then placed there after it had become a skeleton.
Dave Mack, could you tell me about the area where her remains were found, her skeletal remains, Dave Mack?
In a really remote area, about 40 miles south of where her home was, down off of Highway 17, down a dirt road off into a remote area that is actually referred to as the boneyard to a degree. It's such a remote area that it wasn't some place you would just arbitrarily think of getting rid of a body. It's something that was so remote and planned that it would have had to have been thought out in advance to figure out exactly where to place the remains so that they would be out where you wouldn't just trip over them on accident.
When, if ever, was the last time you checked your home's title?
Oh, no, we're not doing this, Nancy.
You're like, me? The answer is...
Trying to type in the chat and you're trying to sell me home loan or something.
In the last hours, Barry Morphew, now accused formally in the murder of his wife, Suzanne, in court, smiling. Why? Joining me is a renowned criminal defense attorney, and you can find him at his website, dwsmithlegal.com. Joining us is Derek Smith. Wow, that must have been a really smart mountain lion to drag her body after it soared through the air and attacked her and yanked her off of her bike and then dragged her to the next county to a known disposal site called the Boneyard.
There's the bike.
That's some mountain lion, Derek.
Yeah, he seems to have a good lay of the land too. I guess if this Boneyard is something of an area that has been used for this type of purpose before, how did it get its name?
They're going to get in a fight, just letting you know. He's a criminal defense attorney. It's going to happen.
It does seem a little questioning to me when you're talking about the body is decomposed and it has an outside agent on it, such as bleach or something of that. It doesn't seem like that's going to come from the animal kingdom. It seems like some kind of being of higher intelligence was involved here. It doesn't necessarily mean it was somebody close to her, though. It still could be a random act of violence and a way of getting rid of the evidence in a certain situation like this.
Derek, do you know how
Yes.
remote their home was? Who's going to just drive by and see her? I mean, I practically had to hike to get to it when I went out there looking. It's very remote, which in my mind reduces the likelihood of stranger on stranger.
Well, yeah, of course, you definitely have a smaller population to go, I guess, and target if you're somebody looking to do this, but that also could be part of it. You want to go target somebody in a remote area because you have some kind of fascination for them. I've seen the pictures of this woman. She looked attractive. It could have been appealing to somebody just passing by or someone that shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Wait. It could have been what? Wait, what did you just say? She's attractive, so it could have been what?
It could have been just someone passing by and taking a look at her and saying, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of her being in a remote situation and nobody being around, and I'm going to go ahead and abduct her.
As opposed to her being really, really ugly. Well, I don't. What? Because she's pretty? Stranger on stranger, someone said, wow, she's a looker. Let me kill her.
Yeah.
It adds to the likelihood that it could be somebody else, Nancy. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here.
Okay, you're getting in trouble right now. You got a tiger by the tail. You can't hold on and you can't let go. So you're saying because she's attractive, that ups the ante and the likelihood that it was a stranger on stranger attack.
It
Somebody
does.
drives by and goes, wow, she's pretty. Let me kill her. Okay, you know what?
Somebody that already has those thoughts in their head predetermined, and then they were to see her. I mean, that could have happened, but not where they were living. It was very remote.
Let's see what Derek Smith has to say about this.
Investigators learned BAM was sold by only one company in the United States and could only be obtained by prescription from a veterinarian. Barry Morphew filled several prescriptions for BAM. Ultimately, the prescription records show that when Suzanne Morphew disappeared, only one private citizen living in the entire state had access to BAM. Barry Morphew.
Okay. Did you hear that, Derek? Only one person in the whole state had butorphanol. BAM. B, brother, A, alpha, M, mother. Butorphanol and two others. One person in the whole state, and her remains were saturated with it. And lo and behold, Barry Morphew is the only person in the state that has it.
So is this something that can't be acquired by anybody else out of the state? I mean, think he'd be foolish enough to use something that he knows is this strictly regulated? There's plenty of other states, other people that can have access to these things. And it seems like it's a pretty good agent to incapacitate a victim. So it seemed like it would be a pretty good cocktail to use if you're going to target somebody.
You know what? You really are amazing. How you just, you get damning evidence. You're like Rumpelstiltskin. I don't know if you're familiar with that story. He gets straw, moldy, damp, yucky straw that's been stored in a barn, gotten wet, and he spins it into gold. That's amazing what you just did there. But let's go to a veteran homicide detective joining us, not a hired gun. No offense, Derek, but you're a hired gun. If you get paid enough money, you'll defend anything. And let me be clear, Derek Smith has won a lot of cases doing what he just did right in front of you. I threw a whole bale of wet, smelly hay at him, and he spun it into gold. Joining me right now is Chris McDonough. He is the director at the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective, around 300 death investigations under his belt, and he's the star of The Interview Room on YouTube. Chris McDonough, try to wipe everything that Derek Smith just said out of your mind. Don't be brainwashed. Barry Morphew is the only person in the state that has a prescription, which is really hard to get, for BAM, main ingredient, butorphanol. He's the only one. So if we follow Derek Smith, it sounded like a good argument to start with, that it was stranger on stranger. And then he threw in, well, it's because she's attractive. That this stranger happens to be driving through, and it's a very small and remote area, very small and remote. Happens to be there. Why? I don't know. Maybe a traveling salesperson. Why don't we throw that in? They see Suzanne Morphew attack her and kill her and drag her to a place only known to locals as the Boneyard. And then, amazingly, this unknown assailant has butorphanol, BMA, which is only prescribed by vets. And the only other person in the whole state that has it is her husband, Barry Morphew. Quite the coinkydink, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what a coincidence, right? And let's add into this mix the fact that he used to use BAM in Indiana when he would hunt deer and animals, and he would use that to incapacitate them to take their antlers because he knew it wouldn't kill them. But however, in this situation, Suzanne is found in a gravesite, possibly moved. The indictment is giving us indication that she was moved. So now going back to that argument of a stranger, well, the guy must have picked her up, did whatever he needed to do, bury her somewhere, come back, dig her back up, and move her back down to the location she was ultimately dumped in. Not happening.
What did you make of it, Chris McDonough? Because it was like
It did happen, Chris. What do you mean not happen? It happened. They moved the body. The body was moved. We just heard from the doctor there.
When the first indictment,
and we've heard it all everywhere,
was thrown out based on alleged prosecutorial misconduct. And I'm going to go to Dave Mack in a moment for him to explain why that first indictment was thrown out. And Barry Morphew, as I recall, and I'm going to go to Dave on this too, sued people that suggested that he was guilty after that indictment got thrown out. When that indictment was thrown out, many people believed, Chris McDonough, the case would never be revived again. That was the death knell for the case. But somehow, through meticulous investigation, and I am talking about meticulous, can you imagine how many man-hours it took to determine who, if anyone, in the entire state had a prescription for BAM, butorphanol? That must have taken hundreds and hundreds of man-hours to figure that out, and to go all the way back to his home state of Indiana to find out that he had a prescription for it there through a vet to shoot deer and get their antlers, I guess is why he says he had it. I mean, that's very damning evidence, Chris McDonough.
Totally agree, Nancy. And in fact, there's a saying in homicide, our day begins when your day ends. And they never gave up. And even though there was a curveball thrown with, the situation there with the district attorney's office, they were pressing forward. And when the body was found, all this other evidence now presented itself and they could take a different direction.
I want you to hear about how Suzanne's remains were saturated with BAM. Listen.
The El Paso County coroner's testing found Suzanne's bone marrow contained all three of the individual chemicals that comprise BAM. BAM did not contaminate the body after death. Suzanne's body had begun to metabolize the drug before she died. The coroner's ruling, homicide by unspecified means in the setting of butorphanol, azaparone, and metatomidine intoxication.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved. Barry Morphew back in court on new formal charges. He murdered his wife, Suzanne. Does anybody remember the name Jodi Arias?
Oh, geez.
I'm afraid to actually say it out loud. It might conjure her up. To Dr. Bethany Marshall, remember Jodi Arias murdered her lover, Travis Alexander, after an all-day sex marathon. She murdered him when, after all the sex and the photos of the sex and the blah and the blah, he went, yeah, I'm not canceling that date where I'm taking the other woman, my date, to Cancun. She wanted him to call off that date. They were broken up, by the way. So he asked another lady to go on this trip. And Arias drives across the state with gas cans full of gas in her car so she doesn't have to stop and leave a trail at a gas
I
station.
forgot about that.
Gets there, has a sex
Freaking
marathon,
crazy.
and it didn't change his mind. So she killed him. I think it was 28 or 9 stab wounds. There was an argument about that because some of the stab wounds were overlapping in his shower, left him to decompose, and then for good measure, shot him in the head over that. But then she went so far as to leave her digital camera in the home, right? I think she washed it in the washer, and it was found in the washer, her digital camera, where she was trying to get rid of evidence. And oh, there you go. That's one of my favorite photos ever in life. There's the digicam. We had to go back and dig around. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the picture of her foot? There's actually a picture of her foot, her pants, at the murder scene. She takes an unintentional selfie at the murder scene, but the digicam is found in the washer. Do you remember that, Dr. Bethany?
Nancy, I remember that story so clearly, driving all the way to visit the victim. Didn't she use gas cans instead of pumping gas at a gas station? At one point, she was stalking him and she like hid behind a Christmas tree. So what I think is so interesting in these two cases is that rejection, or the perception of rejection, is often at the core of domestic homicide. Now, in the case of Jodi Arias, she did not prepare a dump site, right? The dump site was the shower, and she thought nobody would ever figure it out. Now, in this case with Suzanne Morphew, somebody prepared a dump site. They took her body, bleached her bones. There's a BAM, in the bone marrow, meaning that it was metabolized before her death. And then later on, her body is moved to the boneyard. So to me, that so much speaks, although with Jodi Arias, I also think it was premeditated, but especially in this case, somebody premeditated this. I mean, where do you put a body for months before you secrete it somewhere else? A freezer? I don't know. In your backyard? This body was somewhere being preserved before it was dumped.
Well, not the backyard. I'm sure the cops checked everything there, right? So where was it, Barry? Another job site? I don't think he had another job site. But I mean, I could see that happening, putting a body in like a freezer or something, but I just don't know where he would store that.
Again, it tells me just how much time and attention and detail went into the commission of the crime.
Dr. Bethany, I did not want to interrupt you because I learn so much every time you go on a roll. But I want you to hear this. This is where I was going. Sadly, I meandered. But remember we were talking about Jodi Arias leaving the digital camera with incriminating photos on the digital camera, and they had to, I guess they put it in a bag of rice because somehow they saved what was on the digicam. Okay, I hope you're sitting down. You may need to lay down for this. Listen.
Officers find a locked gun safe in the Morphew's garage. Inside that gun safe, they find a dart rifle or tranquilizer rifle and packages of new Dart brand tranquilizer darts. The packages include capped hypodermic needles designed to load the darts. Law enforcement also finds one of these needle caps in the dryer among men's shorts. No tranquilizer formula was found.
It was in his dryer, in his underwear. How apropos. In his underwear, in the dryer. It's just like Jodi Arias. It's Jodi Arias. I mean, he leaves the tranquilizer needle cap in the dryer, and they can't find the liquid because it's obviously in Suzanne Morphew's body. It's gone. It's long gone. I mean, in the dryer. What idiot. I'm so happy.
Okay, so this is random, but with Jodi Arias and Barry Morphew, I'm going to guess that this was the first time they ever stripped the sheets and put them in the washing machine, because they, you know how you like check the pockets to make sure there's no Kleenex, or you make sure that their socks are not in the sheets. They just stuff the sheets in, camera, dart gun, whatever, dart gun cap and all, which I think is hilarious. It says something about, well, homicide's not hilarious, but it does say something about the domestic routine they were in with their partners, where the partners maybe did everything. And at this point, they were just very hasty and didn't think about what they were doing.
Now, Jackie here in the studio wants me to point out, according to her, the needle cap was found in the men's shorts, not underwear. Okay. How that makes a legal difference, I don't know, but they're so noted. So, now to Chris McDonough, we have him not just the only person in the whole state, according to the records, that has BAM, butorphanol, but the needle cap is in his shorts, in his dryer. At the time the home is searched when she goes missing. I mean, I want to scream idiot. Oh, okay, I will. Idiot. But I mean, the evidence is damning. Just
yes.
What do you make of it? And another thing, and I haven't even gotten into this yet, is the activity of the phone. I mean, it's Kohberger all over again, your specialty. Kohberger, who turns his phone off as he, according to the state, leaves the murder scene and travels home and then turns it back on. Here, Barry Morphew did something very similar. And let me just state, he is innocent. He is innocent until he is proven guilty in a court of law. But I mean, do people never learn? I hate to give criminals any tips, but leave your phone at home just this one time.
Yeah, I mean, it's job security, unfortunately. But let's take this cap for a moment. If he's the only guy in the state of Colorado that has access to this chemical, that cap is going to be a high wall that the defense is going to have to jump over. And then let's take the fact that she has a cancer report on her body. Imagine this for a moment, Nancy. If he injected her, he shoots her with the dart, and now he has access to even more of this chemical. And I'll let Dr. Kane talk about that a little bit deeper. But the fact that they found it so ingrained into her bone marrow, did he inject it and froze her in time? That's going to be a question I think a lot of people are going to be asking. And if in fact he did that, remember, he tells the authorities, one of his first statements is, well, we made love all night. Really?
In the last hours, alleged killer Barry Morphew in court, smiling for the crowd. Okay, Dave Mack.
That was his first picture.
Let me ask you a couple of things. Number one, why was the state's case thrown out on alleged prosecutorial misconduct? I want to hear that. And then I want to talk to you about what the cell phone activity and movements reveal. But first, the alleged prosecutorial misconduct. What was it?
All right. Well, Nancy, 1 week before the initial first-degree murder in Suzanne's death was set to hit court, they dropped the charges without prejudice, so it can be brought out again later. And the reason for that was they believed they had zeroed in on where her remains would be found, but due to weather conditions at that time, they could not get to the area where they believed they would find her body. So they, rather than moving forward with a no body trial, they felt it wiser to move forward and wait until they could actually find the remains. That, coupled with the fact that the original prosecutor was a woman named Linda Stanley. Now, she was not removed from the case because specifically of the Barry Morphew investigation. But there were plenty of problems with Linda Stanley that led to her being taken off the case and later disbarred for a series of ethical violations and misconduct related to her handling of the Morphew case, among others. So there was a number, if you want me to go into them, there was inadequate supervision of the case with those investigating. They were saying that Linda Stanley issued extrajudicial statements that she made publicly multiple times that were inappropriate, made to the media about the murder case and potentially prejudicing future jurors. She claimed that she launched a baseless investigation into the district judge presiding over the case without any credible evidence whatsoever. And her office then allegedly caused numerous discovery violations as well. Couple that with abuse of power.
Okay, wait. Hold on, Dave Mack. You can't just throw out discovery violations. I asked you specifically, what was the alleged prosecutorial misconduct? Now, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is that she, Linda Stanley, the former district attorney, was sanctioned for missing deadlines. Let me get Derek Smith in on this. Derek Smith is a veteran defense attorney, okay? The one I accused of being Rumpelstiltskin a few moments ago. I remember many, many, many nights, more than I can count, at the district attorney's office after midnight on Friday nights, because the trial was going to start 10 days later on a Monday, right? Counted out. And that discovery had to be postmarked 10 days before trial. I would normally send it out far ahead of that. But if I had other things I had discovered, I'd be at the Xerox machine, which of course around 10:30 would break down. And I'd be fighting with this massive Xerox machine, trying to copy the discovery and race to the Atlanta airport where I could still get something time-stamped before midnight. Good times. The point is, you have to give the other side their discovery at a certain deadline. And if you don't, Derek Smith, you can't bring that evidence into trial, period.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, that's the part of a trial that gets really complex, especially when new evidence is discovered during the trial, things of that nature during the proceedings are going on. You have to give the other side, especially if there's exculpatory evidence. I mean, there's local rules that codify all that as well. A chance to review what you just found out. You have to be open with discovery. That's just number one in these cases. You cannot hide the ball and show up at trial and say, hey, look, here's some evidence I'm going to present. The judge won't allow it. And you could also risk a mistrial. Nobody wants a mistrial.
Yeah, it's not worth it. You got to follow the rules, because if you don't, it's going to get found out. Okay, it's an ethical violation. Who wants that? I don't want an ethical violation. And then when it's found out, your case gets reversed. And the problem with a case getting reversed because of an ethical violation or misconduct is it can very well be reversed with prejudice, which means you can't try it again. That was your one shot. I mean, people get reversals all the time. The judge can have a slip of the tongue in giving a jury instruction. There can be a million things that on appeal, the appellate court says, and it's reversed and you have to retry it. But if it's reversed with prejudice, the person is acquitted. And you don't want that. Now, Dave Mack, also, I just heard Derek Smith, and he's right. If there's any Brady material, Brady v. Maryland, it's a United States court case, went to the Supremes when the state did not hand over some, let me just say, exculpatory. I don't think exonerated the defendant, but it was exculpatory. It tended to suggest the defendant was not guilty, and they didn't hand it over. Was there a Brady violation in this case or not, Dave Mack? Was there evidence about an unknown male's DNA in Suzanne's SUV?
DNA from an unknown male found in Suzanne Morphew's SUV. That was the discovery violation, the biggest one.
Okay, so that's a big one. And Derek Smith, what finally happened was the state, as Dave Mack just accurately reported, withdrew the case. And they did that in the hopes of not getting thrown out of court with prejudice. And by withdrawing that case on their own, they had the opportunity to rebring it because there is no statute of limitations on murder. Okay. Do you agree with at least that much, Derek?
Absolutely. Yes, I do.
Does anybody remember the name Alex Murdaugh, may he rot in hell, convicted in the double murders of his wife Maggie and son Paul? Well, guess what bit him in the rear end at trial? His gas guzzling, massive honking SUV. Guess what it had? A state-of-the-art nav system. Listen.
Analysis of Barry Morphew's electronic devices, including the infotainment system in his truck and cell phone, showed Morphew returned home at 2:43 p.m. on Saturday, May 9th, 2020. And according to the data, his phone or truck never left the residence again until the next morning, Sunday. He left for Broomfield, Colorado. The data also shows Morphew's phone turned off for most of this time frame. It was turned on for a while in the late evening. Barry Morphew's cell phone was again turned off at 4:32 a.m. and wasn't turned on again until 5:37 a.m. when location information showed him on the road already in the area of Johnson Village, Colorado.
Y'all be sneaky with them phones, turning them off and then turning them on when you're like at your destination or on your way to your destination, already on the road. No, it doesn't work. We'll find the Google searches.
The SUV infotainment system is biting Morphew in the rear end. Explain, Dave Mack, what does this mean? Because in the Murdaugh case, what it meant was you could tell exactly when Alex Murdaugh left the scene of the double murder.
When he had
you
to
could
put the
tell when he
seatbelt
let his
on.
window down on the passenger side of the car to throw out Maggie's cell phone, which was found in that location on the side of the road.
Sure
when
did.
he accelerated, when he let the window up, when he put the car in park, drive, reverse, you name it, as he hid out at his mother's house to create an alibi. That was attacked at trial with the navigation system evidence
That trial
from
was
the
good.
SUV. Who'd have thunk it? Right, Dave Mack? Same thing here. What does the nav system show about Morphew?
It's actually, it is showing that during significant periods of time related to this case on May 9th and May 10th, that his phone was just arbitrarily turned off at odd times and inconsistent with previous behavior that they were able to download. It was turned off like at 2:47 p.m. right after he got home. Right after he sees her in the backyard on her phone, he gets home, turns his phone off. His phone stays off until 10:15 p.m. that night. It gets turned back off at 4:32 a.m. So to be clear, he gets home, turns his phone off. About bedtime, 10:15, he turns it back on. Turns it back off when he gets up at 4:32 a.m., May 10th. And the phone is turned back on at 5:37 a.m. May 10th, and it shows his location as if he was driving in the area of Johnson Village, Colorado. So it's documenting where he is and how he's trying to disguise himself. He used some form of masking to prevent them from knowing where he is and what he's doing at those given times.
It makes me want to just scream out Brian Koberger. Because again, on the way home, according to the state, from the murder scene, he turns his cell phone off only to turn it back on when he gets home to his Pullman apartment. And you know, Chris McDonough joining me, director of the Cold Case Foundation and star of the
Right,
interview
Chad?
room on YouTube,
Yeah.
former homicide
True.
detective. That again must have been an incredibly brilliant
true.
mountain lion because I guess it ate Suzanne Morphew's cell phone because that's never been found.
Wonder where that's at.
Yeah, I mean, and to think that that pattern of life would also be consistent with that mountain lion as well, Nancy. You know more than anybody on this panel, as a former prosecutor, the one thing that law enforcement wants to present at all times is everything. And in this situation, Barry has a very uphill battle with the circumstantial case that's building, and that digital footprint could be potentially very dangerous for him.
We wait as justice unfolds.
Okay.
Again, and a bombshell development in the Barry Morphew prosecution. Morphew charged again, indicted in the murder of wife Suzanne, 5 years after she goes missing on a Mother's Day bike ride.
It's almost like
all
5, yeah,
alone.
almost 5 years.
And now we remember an
Aw,
American hero.
look at him, he's so
Officer
young.
Jeremiah Story, Perry County Sheriff's, Arkansas, just 21, shot down in the line of duty.
That's so wrong.
Survived by parents James and Mandy. American hero, Officer Jeremiah Story. I want to thank our guest.
21 years old. 21? Just out doing his job. Look at him with his cowboy hat. He was probably so proud of that badge, you know? That makes me feel so. Nancy, why you gotta make me feel bad at the end? Oh, you kind of got a dent in your chest a little bit, Nancy. I think Biscuit ran over her, which is the vacuum. That's the vacuum cleaner. That's very sad. She does this at the end of every program now. She started doing it when she went over to Merit TV / who is this? I don't even know who she's on. This is just her channel. But she is on another channel. It's Merit TV and something else. So I just got my bedtime reminder. It's like, take your ass to bed. It's time to take your butt to bed, girl. I feel like I kind of messed up my extension again. I was feeling it earlier and I was like, did I really? I don't know. I've only put my hair up one time. If that's the case, then that's crazy. But I do have a really good show for you guys for tomorrow. I did the thumbnail earlier this evening, and so this is the thumbnail, and it's going to be a documentary on Fox Nation. I had to think about it for a minute. And then I have like another thing I wanted to show you guys with Brian Koberger. Also, I just told you guys in the beginning of the live, they are having a court hearing. I put it on my Twitter. If you guys aren't following me on Twitter and you have Twitter, make sure you're following me. I don't even think you have to have Twitter to follow people, like just to get on there and look. But they're going to have a meeting on the 17th, I believe it was, and they're going to talk about the non-dissemination order. So maybe we'll have that disseminated out to us by the end of the day. That'd be great. I'll be ready to read. I'll make sure I got my glasses. I've got water. I've got whatever I need, because if they decide to shoot out at us, a bunch of discovery, then we'll need it. Also, it's so crazy because today I put in for Sarah Boone's jail calls. I don't know if I'll get anything. They might tell me no. But so it says, in her latest communication to the court, Sarah Boone says her appellate attorney isn't communicating and fears her appeal is in jeopardy. She's already complaining about the appellate lawyer. I mean, she had 9 herself. Do we really think that she would do anything different? Really? But I saw that today, and I was just like, oh my gosh. It was after I did the the FOIA. I was like, that's so weird. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. She's back. She's still out there. She's still out there. Also, I'm looking for some charities on YouTube, like the best ones. I'm trying to think of one that we could do on. I thought we would actually do the fundraiser the day of Brian Koberger's sentencing. I thought that'd be a good day to do it. And I want to find a good one for like all the victims, you know what I mean, that died. So I'll keep looking. And whenever I find some that are like, oh, maybe like I think will pique our interest, I'll put together like a poll where we can all like, vote and see which one we do want to donate to. So, and all of the monies go straight to the charity when you do it through YouTube like that. So that's really awesome. That's really awesome that they give you that option. Anybody over 10,000 subscribers, I guess, can do that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that it had to be over 10,000. I just started doing them, I guess, when I was over 10,000. Thanks, Cuffy. Yeah, I thought we would do, because we were going to do it. We were going to do like one a month, but then this all kind of happened with everything, with him. And I thought, well, let's just do at least one for all of the students. And yeah, it'll be a good one. It'll be good. Time to cuddle up with Dale Berto. That's funny. Yeah, she has the memory. I love that. Yeah, he was just doing his job. Your grandson's calling. Oh, that's cute. I don't have any grandkids. Got some nephews though, and nieces. Someone can have them if they want. I'm just kidding. I love them so much. I wouldn't do that. Have a wonderful evening, Crystal. So yeah, I'm going to jump off of here. I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. I do have a lot of stuff. I want to do like a couple different things. So I want to watch the Peacock episode or the documentary that's on my Patreon. I want to watch that and go over that this weekend. And I wanted to do like there was a few different people, like 3 or 4 that did animations during the Idaho 4 case. And I thought we could go back over those and see which one was the closest in, their detailing. So I thought that's pretty fun. Also, do I have anything else? I have a lot of stuff up here. There's Friends of the Idaho Murder Victim reveal eerie premonition on the night of Brian Koberg's rampage. So yeah, the Idaho victims' friends are talking. And then I thought there was something else, but I might have it in a different tab. I probably do. Brian Koberger's ex-classmate speaks out. The guy that spoke out, he was from, like, I think he had a TikTok page. He speaks out again on Banfield. And then we're going to do the Fox Nation thing. We'll do that here. And then I'll put the other tomorrow. They're coming out with the new docuseries. What is that on? I can't remember. Is it on Peacock too? Let's look. I can't remember. Or is it Amazon? Prime Video. Okay, maybe is that what it is? Because if it is, I have that. Let's see. Oh, you can watch it somewhere for free. That's probably not for free, really. Prime Video. I have Prime Video, I'm pretty sure, because I think they always ask me, like, are you going to use your Prime Video? And I'm like, I don't know. Stephen Stern's trial actually got extended out, I heard. I heard it got extended. Let me check. I don't want to say that, and if it's wrong. It's pushed to the end of July. So, I mean, it's not that far. It just says, yeah, it just says here, pushed to the, I knew it was just like, it was just pushed back, but. Wow. Last week, Stern's defense attorneys also requested the removal of all newspapers from the courthouse till the trial concludes. It doesn't say like an exact date on this one, but it says, July 22nd, when jury selection is expected to begin with opening arguments slated to start on July 25th. Yeah, I don't know when it'll be available. I'm just going to keep looking for it, I guess. I'll look for it in the morning when I wake up. Yeah, let me see what windows do I have open here. I close. Okay, I close some of these. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you so much. I'll go ahead and put my Patreon in here too. If you guys want to watch the Peacock episode, and then I'll put the new docuseries that's going to be 4 parts. I'll put the first, I think it's just going to be the first part, but I'll put that on the Patreon as soon as it's available, because I'll watch it. I'll just sit here and watch it and put it on. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to put it on as soon as I can put it on there for you guys. That way you guys have it. Because I'm excited to watch it myself. So yeah, it's on Prime Video. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. You know what I'm going to do? Let's set an alarm, because your girl will be writing stuff down sometimes. What's that? Oh, that's me. Okay. I accidentally deleted some apps on accident, and I don't know what apps they were. So everything's kind of moved. Okay, so look at Prime 4. Okay. And then we're going to set this for tomorrow at 10. Don't want to get me out of bed too early now. But I appreciate you guys being here. So no, they're actually coming out with a new one, baby girl. It's a docuseries. It's going to be 4 parts and it's on Prime Video and it's coming out tomorrow. And then they have a 48 hours episode that they came out with. And something else. The book that not Howard Bloom, we already read that one. James Patterson's putting out, which I'll be getting that and we'll be reading it. And actually you can like read along. Or if you want, you can come up and help me read because you have the book too. I'm hoping I can get the book on I will get the book though on the screen for all of you guys. You know, I'll get that. So thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow evening, or actually tomorrow during the day. I'm going to be doing a live during the day around like 2:35. I think that was a good time when we did that the last time. So make sure if you guys are able to come. And if you're watching on a replay, thanks for watching on replay. If you're not able to come, that's fine. Just come back and watch on replay and comment in the comment section and like the video. That's all I ask. But thanks for being here again. I appreciate it. What's it called? One night in, let me think. I think I just deleted it off. I think it's one night. What's this? No, that's not it. It's called like One Night in Idaho, isn't it? One Night in Idaho, I think. No, just kidding. No, that's Peacock. Yeah, One Night in Idaho. Prime Video. Yes, that's it. Okay. One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, Prime Video. Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze. Got